Guys, and welcome back to another one of my Doctor Who book reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Rose, which is one of the new Target novelisations which have been adapted from one of the new series television stories. Now, when I heard they were going to be doing novel adaptations of the new series television stories, I was quite glad and also very surprised that they were doing them, because I wasn't sure whether or not they were going to do them at some point in the future, but I had a slight feeling they would, but I wasn't sure which ones they would adapt, because they recently released a new batch of Target books, those being Rose, The Christmas Invasion, The Day of the Doctor, Twice Upon a Time, and the City of Death, I believe. And I picked up a couple of the new series Target novelisations the other day, those being Rose and The Day of the Doctor, so I've got two of them out of the ones that they've released. And I've actually managed to read Rose in the space of yesterday and today, so I was quite pleased with that, because I really wanted to experience some of the new series stories in book form. I was really interested to see how they would play out on paper. So before I get to my thoughts of the story, I just want to go over the presentation of the book. So as you can see, the cover is very nicely created, although my only slight nitpick is that they decided to use the Rose that you saw in Series 2 and not the Rose you saw in Series 1. I know that's just a nitpick, because it's still pretty much the same character, but I just sort of wish they used the Rose that you saw in Series 1 and not the Rose you saw in Series 2. But other than that, it's pretty much the same sort of standard Target reprint that you see on a lot of the other reprints. So as you can see, it's Rose, written by Russel T Davies, and you've got this nice artwork on the front cover. You've got the spine there, looks very nice. It's a bit different to the other Target reprints, because it hasn't got the picture of the Doctor on the spine, which I thought was very odd, because I thought they would have a picture of the Ninth Doctor on the side there, but sadly they don't, so yeah, it's a bit odd. We also have a picture of Christopher Eccleston there, and we have a quote from the story, and it says, "Nice to meet you, Rose, run for your life." And we have the synopsis of the story, so if I just bring that closer, hopefully you can read that. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's not a very long Doctor Who book, it's about 230 odd pages, and like I said, it didn't take me very long to read, because I bought it yesterday and I finished it today. I started reading it last night, and to be honest, I couldn't quite stop reading it, because it's a very engaging Doctor Who book, even though I've experienced the story on television, and I know it pretty much off by heart, because it was the first Doctor Who story I watched, and as someone who watched Doctor Who from 2005 onwards, and has loved the show ever since, from the classic era to the modern era, I really did enjoy this book. I think it's probably due to the fact that it was the first ever Doctor Who story that I watched, and it's now been published in book form. I think it's a great Doctor Who story. It's not perfect, but I think this novelisation is perfect. I think there wasn't a single thing that I disliked about this book. I can't find any flaws in it whatsoever. Because I really did like the television story, Rose. I thought it was a great introduction for the 21st century Doctor Who fans, and like I said, it's what got me into Doctor Who, and my mum actually introduced me to this show. She said to me, that there's this really cool show that you should watch, that you should check out, called Doctor Who, and it was coming back tonight, and I think you should watch it. And I think it's probably a choice that she probably regrets now, because I've been buying all this merchandise, and it's just one of those things. But I really did enjoy this novel, and if you haven't experienced any of the new series Targets, this is the first one I've experienced, and from what I read, it's fantastic. To paraphrase the Ninth Doctor, it is fantastic. And for those of you who don't know, the Ninth Doctor is actually one of my favourite Doctors of all time. I think it's probably due to the fact that he was my first Doctor that I ever watched. But for those of you who are interested in my sort of ranking of the Doctors, my top three, it sort of goes John Pertwee, Sylvester McCoy, and then it goes to Christopher Eccleston, because it's been that way for a fair few years now, and I'm actually going to be meeting Christopher Eccleston in London Film and Comic Con. I'm going to be having a photo shoot with him, and I honestly cannot wait for that moment, because Christopher Eccleston is the reason that I got into Doctor Who, and I have so much to thank him for, because he did such a great job with the portrayal of the Ninth Doctor. I don't care what anybody says, I think he's the best of what we've had in the new series, despite the fact he only did one season as the Doctor. I think he was brilliant, and I loved his incarnation and how he brought it back with great success, and I just loved everything about this series. Like, I love every single story from series 1. I know that might seem a bit odd to some people, because stories such as The Long Game and Boomtown aren't considered good by any means, but I love every single story from series 1, and I enjoy every single story from series 1. But as far as the novel goes, I think it's probably one of the best Doctor Who books I have ever read. There are a couple of scenes that have sort of been extended, like there are a couple of scenes within the TV story that have actually been extended within the novel, to give it a sort of a way of fleshing out the characters a little bit more. And I think the story itself is really well novelised in book form, and I just had a blast reading it, because if you like Rose, if you like Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, if you like series 1, then I highly suggest you go out and buy Rose, because it truly is, I think, a masterpiece of a Doctor Who novel. And like I said, it's one of my favourite Doctor Who books. I'm so glad that they decided to novel adaptation. I'm glad they sort of chose to do a novel of the story, because I had so much fun reading it. And if you love Rose, the very first modern era story, then I highly suggest you go out and buy this, because this is a fantastic, brilliant experience. Probably one of the best. I had the most enjoyment out of this book out of probably all of the ones I've read. I haven't read that many, but from what I have read, this is probably my favourite book that I have ever read. I just had so much fun reading it, and for that reason alone, I think you should go and buy it, because if you're a 2005 Doctor Who fan, then definitely go and buy it, because I think you will not be disappointed. You won't be disappointed with the story, because it's just brilliant, and I really loved this book. And as for a rating, I would probably give this book a 10 out of 10, because it was just a joyful experience to read. And like I said, definitely go out and buy it, because I guarantee you will not be disappointed. So I think that pretty much concludes this review of the Rose Target novelisation. So thank you very much for watching this review, and I shall see you next time for my next video. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but hopefully it'll be a good one, and I shall see you then. So take care, and goodbye for now.